Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
This is Other Neil.
I know, you're not number one fan Tim.
For once.
Normally, it's always number one fan Tim. Rarely do I deviate from that just because he's always available and we record in batches. But I found something out today that was so good, I have to fucking put it out there.
Go on.
So,
The Beast.
Yes.
her deceased father, rest his soul, was known to be a serial philanderer.
What?
Really?
Fucking around on her mom. I think he got busted in 4 different affairs.
Oh. Okay.
Right. And there was a point a few years back where her brother got a message from a guy on Facebook
Oh, sweet.
from California.
Okay.
They used to live in California. That's where she's from.
Long lost sibling or?
Their dad at one point owned a liquor store.
Okay.
And this guy said, "Your dad is my dad." He had an affair with my mom and knocked her up. And her brother was like in super denial. Then he told her. And then she told me. I was like, holy fucking shit, are you serious?
Right.
She's like, my brother asked him about my dad's liquor store. And the guy not only described what video game cabinets he had in there, because he had like a couple video games by the door.
Sure.
But also,
Seems inherently wrong in the liquor store, but anyway, yeah.
well, I think it was mostly liquor store / they had some other stuff, like a mini bodega inside.
Oh, okay.
The guy knew exactly where her dad used to keep his gun.
So this guy's legit then.
And then they looked at the picture of him, and it looks like a black version of her brother. This guy's, he would be half Israeli, half black. Just look like her brother if her brother was blacker.
Wow. Okay.
Which, at the time, I thought was hilarious, but also very tragic for her mom.
Right.
Because shortly thereafter, her dad decided, I'm done with dialysis. That's it.
And he was gonna.
He quit, and then he died
yeah.
within 2 weeks.
Yep.
So, I mean, I was there bedside the day before he died. He was already in the coma.
I think I remember you telling me all about this.
It was, I watched him. He was in poor health. And to see somebody this vulnerable, and there was a time where I went there to check on him. She asked me to go there and check on him because he was alone while her mom worked, and I did. And he, didn't want to get out of bed, and he complained about, how sick of sitting in bed he was. I'm like, yeah, I hear you. I mean, I don't like seeing you like this,
Right.
all laid up. And he, started crying for a few seconds. And then he composed himself. But I went there a few times, helped him up off the floor when he fucking fell trying to get in the shower.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I had to go there and give him the from behind bear hug and help him onto a chair.
Right.
So anyways, he seemed like a nice guy. I always used to mock the way he talked because he was from Palestine.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Like the story about Thanksgiving, and we're having dinner, and he's putting horseradish all over his food. And we're mocking him for how hot it's going to be. He's like, no, I like it spicy. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, he's sweating. He's dabbing his nose. Like, I don't know how people do cocaine. That's my definitive story about my ex's dad is, I don't know how people do cocaine.
Because he's just doing horseradish nonstop.
Yeah, and then also he was diabetic, and they always kept Pop-Tarts around. And I'd mock the Pop-Tarts. I'm like, what's with the Pop-Tarts all the time? She's like, my dad's diabetic. I'm like, so does that mean he just doesn't have time for breakfast? What are you driving at?
Right. That's his fix.
He needs a quick fucking sugar boost. So I'd always mock him like, oh my God, I don't feel so good. Give me my Pop-Tarts. He honestly, I'm not exaggerating. He talked like this. That's how he sounded.
Sure. Yeah.
So when we found out that this nice guy, who I already knew was fucking around with his wife multiple times, suddenly had another kid out there, I went, holy fucking shit. He can't be the only one.
Sure. That was going to be my first thought, is how many other sisters or brothers does he have?
Well, right. And nothing ever came of that. They tried to talk to the guy, but they never really got too into it.
Okay.
So I'm laying on the couch today, and I get a phone call from her. She's like, I got a situation I got to tell you about. I'm like, fuck. How much is this going to cost me?
Right. What do I have to do now?
Yeah. Because we're not together. I don't fucking owe you shit.
Nope.
Unless it's for one of the kids. But anyways, she's like, so, my cousin contacted me on Facebook and said that he got a message from some girl who did an Ancestry.com family tree and listed her dad as my dad and my cousin as her first cousin.
Say what?
I'm like, and? She's like, I don't know what to do. Should I tell my mom about it? Like, she'll be devastated. Like, well, I don't know. I mean, she won't be fucking surprised at this point.
I was just going to say, how would this be any different than any other thing at this point?
Well, it came up with the dude years ago.
Okay.
And, like, her mom totally just compartmentalized it back in the brain. It's like it never fucking happened.
So she handled it in her own way then?
She stuffed it deep down inside and started smoking again.
Oh, okay. That's a bummer.
Right. And also drowned her sorrows in McDonald's and trips to the casino. But that's, par for the course for her. So anyways.
Isn't that like 60 to 70 years old anyway?
Yeah, well. That's the other thing is her parents were 19 years apart.
Oh, okay.
Yes, her mom's only, I think, like 62.
Okay, so she's fairly young.
And so she starts messaging this lady.
Okay.
And that was, I think, around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I dropped the kids off at 6:20. And she goes to show me a picture of this broad.
Uh-huh.
She's like, this girl looks so much like me.
Does she?
Well, kind of.
Okay.
Kind of. But she's also 40. So she's...
What, 7, 8 years older than...
7 or 8 years older than the Beast. But that almost looks like she had a black parent. Because when she first called me about this, I started thinking, does he have a type? The first one had a black mom. So I texted her, I'm like, is this girl black? No. Well, I'm looking at her, and she kind of looks like the Beast.
Okay.
But she's got somewhat more black facial features.
Okay.
Like the nose and such. Or, it's similar to anybody, I guess, that could be from that part of the world, over in the Middle East, towards Africa and all that shit. But then she's got a black husband and, half black, half whatever the fuck she is, kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at the picture, I'm like, well.
It's within the realm of possibility.
Not bad.
Yeah.
She's like, really? You're going to fuck my sister? I'm like, no, I'm just saying, not bad. The resemblance, and she's moderately attractive. Anyways, she's like, so that's her. And as I'm talking to her, we're going to go meet on Wednesday. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're already going to fucking meet up with her? Because she lives around here.
Oh, I was just going to say.
30 minutes away.
Okay. Well, that's right in the backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she says there's two other parts to this that are hilarious. The first one is, she's like, so yeah, I mean, holy crap, I have a sister. And the juice is walking downstairs. I told her, I'm like, go get the bag of dirty clothes for my house. When they wear my shit over there, it comes back in a bag.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And she's like, yeah, fine, whatever. Okay, what are you so excited about? Like, and
The Beast.
she's like, yeah, just talking to your dad about this sister I just found out she had. Oh, okay, whatever. Wait, what?
Right.
Yeah. Like, it took her 2 seconds. And just the way she said, wait, what?
Right.
Like the way an adult would. She's 8.5, and she's processing that while walking down the stairs.
Wait a minute, I got another aunt?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then she goes, and then look at this guy. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Well, she said to me, do you know about Scott? I'm like, who
And
the
this
fuck
was
is
the other
Scott?
guy?
No. This is another guy.
Yes.
This is a third fucking illegitimate sibling, half sibling they have. Like, she already had a grand total of, I think, 7 other siblings because her dad was married 3 or 4 times. I think 3.
Oh my God, this guy was dipping his wick everywhere.
Oh, he loved to fuck.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And obviously not use protection either. I mean, it's one thing to love to fuck. It's another thing to love to fuck and just make children.
Just recklessly dump cum
indiscriminately.
all over the nation. You want to talk about, I've got sweeties in every port. This guy fucking was just shagging all over town. And how the hell did she not know? I don't even know. If I had a timeline of all his affairs and the locations, I would fucking put up a map and I would put pins and connect them with strings.
Yes, that would be fantastic, like a detective or something like
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Just like when they're trying to figure out who the fucking killer is in 7.
Right. Yeah, they're spelling out whatever in the on the map.
So that, just all of a sudden, imagine going from you're at work serving food, because she's a waitress, to holy shit, I have 2 other half siblings out there. But when she said to me, should I tell my mom? She's like, well, wait, no, she's 40, so I guess they wouldn't have been together.
Yeah, this would have been before.
It would have been right before.
Oh, really? So
Because-
they were together for years before...
I'm 2 months older than her brother.
Okay.
2.5. His birthday's Halloween. So both born in 82, and she's born in 87.
Okay. Yeah.
So
5
40.
years. Yeah.
You know, this chick was born in 78.
Yeah.
So predates the brother, and who fucking knows who he was married to and what he was doing, and holy fucking shit.
Wow. Some people are just too fertile. I had this friend just out of high school. It seemed like every woman he dated, he got pregnant. I think he's ended up having like 3 or 4 kids with 3 or 4 different women, like all by his early to mid 20s. It's like, dude, you need to just learn to rap.
So that's a grand total of 4 kids or 12 to 16, you're saying?
4 kids in that short time period, and then with the last one who he got married to, he's had an additional 1 or 2 kids with. So
Jesus,
he's gotten better, but yeah, initially in his early 20s, late teens, he was just way too fertile.
Boy, when I was that age, I'd love to pull out.
I thought it was the greatest thing.
Because I was like, how far can I shoot my cum up on her torso this time?
Right? It was like a trajectory thing, man. You could really launch.
Yeah, and sometimes it'd be like a long fucking pearlescent racing stripe from around their navel all the way up to almost their neck.
Yep. One of my best shots ever was it's one of those, basically was over the top of her, took it out, and she's jerking me off, and I literally shot in that small, like 4-inch space between our bodies, all the way from my crotch, and it hit her in the chin, like underside of the chin.
Interesting.
That was awesome.
And her reaction was,
"Oh my God, I can't believe you hit me!" Like, yeah, it's what happens. It's not like it was a first time.
yeah, I don't know. There was one time where I pulled out and I shot, and I was like, where the fuck did it go? It went up and it got her on the shoulder and then skipped and hit the wall, but also grazed her hair.
Okay.
And it was like I was doing her off the side of a twin-size bed.
Okay. See, getting it in the hair and stuff like that was like one of the worst, because I had that happen before where I got it in this girl's hair and it was like impossible to get out after like a few minutes. It was like gelatinous and
yeah. Ugh. That's not good.
Well, how did you guys get it out, or you just didn't care? You just left her to deal with it?
I don't remember. I was just
you weren't the gentleman to help her with it.
I was so just fucking enamored with the fact that I skipped it off of her shoulder and hit the wall.
That is pretty good.
So imagine now, going back to what we were talking about, imagine finding out you have a fucking half-sibling.
Well, interestingly enough, of all the people you could talk to about this tonight...
Did I ironically hit the nail right on the head by having you talk to me about this?
You did. And that's probably because you don't know much of my history, but my sister and I are technically half-siblings through my mom.
Yeah.
I was the oops baby when my mom was 8. Well, she got pregnant with me when she was 17 and in high school, and I was born shortly after she graduated high school that summer.
Jesus Christ.
Right. So, and there was a big age difference between my mom and my dad. My biological father was like almost 10 years older than her at the time, so he was like in his late 20s.
Robbing the cradle.
Right. Yeah. It was rural Wisconsin, not a lot of options, you know how that goes. But my dad my biological father ended up dying in a snowmobile accident up in Hayward, Wisconsin when I was like 13, 14 years old.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I had never met him. But
I don't think you've ever told me that.
Yeah, well, and I didn't realize it. So I knew I had obviously a grandma. I knew I had some family on that side, but I didn't realize I ever had any other siblings. And when my father died, I think my mom may have said it at the time, but it just didn't register. I was just kind of trying to process this guy I'd never met.
Right.
Who was supposedly my father, had died, but he was not part of my life. I never knew him, so it was just kind of like, shrug my shoulders. Okay. Well, a few years back, and this unfortunately was after I was off of Facebook, I guess I have 2 sisters through my biological father.
Oh,
and
shit.
One of them actually shares a birthday with me. Yeah. And so they reached out to me. I tried reaching out back to them, and it just never really worked. Like, I never heard a response back, so I don't know if they're no longer on Facebook, how that all went. And since then, I haven't done anything about it, but I have 2 siblings. I know one of which lives in Milwaukee and is around the same age. So, yeah. So yeah, that blew my mind.
What do you mean by around the same age? What's the age difference?
I don't even know.
Oh,
I don't
fuck.
know. So I don't know if they're older than me. I don't know if they're younger than me. I don't know if they were, pre my birth. I don't know. So there's some things that I wouldn't say skeletons, but there's some stuff where I have some questions, but I haven't really been overly concerned enough to go and find out,
Yeah.
It's one of those things. At some point in time, I plan on trying to contact them again, but for right now, I'm just like, I've always got other excuses. Like, I'm just trying to get my own life settled. I'm trying to get this wedding done and, stuff like that.
Because the sister of yours that I've met...
Mm-hmm. She's younger than me by about 8-9 years.
Okay,
yeah.
But same mom?
Yes.
Yeah, but obviously your stepdad's her dad.
Yes. Yep. And he's been my dad since I was 5 years old.
I was going to say.
Yeah, he's dad, right? And so that was another reason why when I was, in my teens and this guy died, it was like, okay, how does this affect me,
Your life is a fucking Pearl Jam song.
Pretty much. It's funny you say that because that song, Jeremy, or not Jeremy, but Alive, is that the song?
Yeah.
That song was out right around that time when I was in high school.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, and ironically enough, too, you can actually look up a story about him. He died. He was a drunken snowmobiling fatality. He was doing the bar runs like they typically do in northwestern Wisconsin, and they figure he was probably going about 65 miles an hour on his snowmobile when he went right into a tree. He had another guy on the back with him that was in critical condition for a long time. But yeah, my father died, and the other guy lived, but yeah.
Well, it's better than some of the fatalities I've heard, because there was this family that my parents knew up north from where they're from, around Proctor.
Okay. Yep.
And they've lost, I think, 2 or 3 sons. I think 2 of them went into the fucking drink crossing Lake Superior on their sleds.
Yep.
And another one, if I'm remembering the history correctly, and I haven't heard this in a long fucking time, hit a barbed wire fence that nicked his artery up here, and he fucking bled out.
Wow.
Another reason why I don't want to get on those fucking things.
Well, that was originally the story I was told as a kid, that, it was like the side of a house or a fence or something like that.
The side of a house.
Yeah.
Like, that's better than a fucking tree.
I know. It was interesting, reading the story years later and actually finding out the truth, because I always had kind of this weird story that, I guess a story's a story and all that, no big deal, but it was just weird thinking that, my dad could have just plowed into the side of a house at 65 miles an hour.
And been a part of a very exclusive club with Billy Joel.
Yeah.
People that had put vehicles into domiciles.
Yes.
But that fucking tree came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's a stark difference, hitting a fucking tree versus hitting a house or a fence.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's not like either one of them jumps out at you, but you'd like to think that, you had enough wherewithal that, you weren't going to hit a house, or it didn't just appear. But it's interesting, but it was a little shocking for me. And it's one of those things where what really connects you, though, besides the DNA?
Then nothing, because he wasn't involved.
Right. And our lives are completely different, other than, seeing a picture of my one sister and going, wow, we have the same eyes. She looks very similar, kind of that way. Other than that, we don't really share anything.
What about the other sister? You didn't see any pictures?
No. And I think she's actually older. I'm pretty sure the one sister is older, like in her mid-40s. So she's like at least 5 years older than me.
I'm not going to lie to you. I want to know if your sisters are attractive. Just wondering. You're a decent enough looking guy, obviously.
I was going to
say, you got those pretty eyes.
Picture me with a female version. But
weird.
If I remember right, my one sister, the younger of the two, the one that was reaching out to me, the one I actually saw the picture of, she's pretty normal looking.
Pretty normal looking.
Well, not fat, not huge, not ogreish face or something like that.
Just no big hairy mole coming out of the side of her cheek.
She, in her pictures, it was family pictures, so she obviously wasn't dressing slutty. So I guess I couldn't tell you what. I can't give you anything to build on.
How are her tits?
Right? Yeah. I don't know. It's my sister, man. But anyway, not to hijack your story.
That's
the
fucking
craziness of
the beast.
That just completely amplified the awesomeness of this episode fivefold.
Yeah.
That it was completely by accident.
Yeah.
Because if it was me, I'd be like stoked. I'd road trip to go see that person.
Really?
And then they'd never want to talk to me again. I'm calling my shot right now. They'd be like, this guy is fucking obnoxious, and he cusses like a sailor. He fucking wrote a song about looking at assholes. I never want to see this guy again.
I'm guessing all of a sudden phone numbers would be changed after they got in contact with you, or you visited for the first time.
Well, that all begs the question, like, was my dad out fucking around? My mom had a bunch of miscarriages. Did they just, like, lie about one of them, just give it away?
Yeah.
It could be an interesting fucking story. But,
just like
The Beast's
dad. Where the hell was he?
Well, you know my dad. He's very predictable.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think
he's a straight
chances
arrow
of having a random sibling
Yeah.
are pretty low.
Thanks a lot, Dad. You couldn't go out there and just fucking be reckless with one load.
Right?
So much for my buddy road trip movie idea.
Bosom buddies.
Yeah. Let's go to Wisconsin Dells. I've always wanted to. What better way to bond than by water slides around families with our families not around, looking like a weird semi-related gay couple.
Right on, right? Yeah, overly affectionate, but nobody can
No,
understand why.
We're not going to like hold hands and hug.
Oh, come on now. You haven't seen this person your entire life.
Yeah.
No?
Oh my God, it sounds like my cats are raping each other.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. You're both boys. You're not going to get siblings.
I think that was a penetration meow.
Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It. That is at What Do We Call It. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
I'm Other Neil.
And that's the end.
She said, yeah, I got a real story